Shazam! Fury of the Gods was directed by David F. Sandberg, who also directed the first movie and is the latest film in the DC cinematic universe. And this one once again stars Zachary Levi as Billy Batson, who has to take on the Daughters of Atlas, played by Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, who have come with a plan to destroy the entire world and use magic in order to do so. And with his new family of foster kids, who now are also champions, he has to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm gonna cut to the chase real quick on this one. I loved that first movie. That was one of my favorite films in the DCEU. This one isn't. This one is nowhere near as good as the first one. However, it's still a fun enough time. Just not as good as the first one. I think one of the biggest issues with this film is that it loses something that was very pivotal to the first film, and that is the emotional core that it had. The first film, I think, worked really well because it understood that Billy had, this familial connection that he was trying to build. And as the film went on, as he got to, know more about Freddy and the other kids who were there, I think it worked a lot better. And eventually, as the climax unfolded, you found that family dynamic to be working really well, especially with the two foster parents. In this particular case, that gets pretty much swatted out entirely, and what you get over here is a film that focuses more on the spectacle, which is not a bad thing. I mean, the spectacle's fine, but it is what made the first film so special. It is funny that the few moments in this film which focus in on that were easily the best scenes of the movie for me. I thought that's where the film really, really shines. But I'm starting on a bit of a sour note. I think there are things about this film that do genuinely work. I mean, the first film had a great performance from Zachary Levi. I thought he was excellent as Shazam, and he is great once again. He's having a really great time playing this character. He is a great pick for this character, and I'm glad that he continues to have a lot of fun with this role. You get some more time with the adult champion versions of all the other kids, who are all really, really great in here, except for Grace Fulton. I think Mary is the same actress both times over, so I guess that stayed the same. But she's great in it, either way. And I like the inclusion of the new characters, the Daughters of Atlas, the ones that you get over here. I think with Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu, you get two very formidable characters. Rachel Zegler, who everybody probably knows at this point as Maria from West Side Story, the 2021 version. She's in this film. I'm not going to go too much into what her character is, but she has a very important role to play in everything. And it's not like it redefines the story or anything like that, but there is a reason they were underplaying her in the trailers, let's just put it that way. And I thought she was really good as well. The stuff that from the first film that also really worked for me was some of the humor was really great, and there are moments in this which are genuinely very, very funny. There are some great jokes that land, especially with this one pen character called Steve. That was very funny. Like, there's this thing where he has to write down everything, and I thought that was fun. Like, it had some great punchlines to that, and all of those punchlines worked. And when it comes to the spectacle itself, it's fun. There are some sequences that are pretty cool. There's one big battle towards the finale that was pretty awesome. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, that was a pretty great time to watch. But unfortunately, I also found myself watching it, and I felt like something was sort of lacking in this one compared to the first one. I kept thinking what it was, and it was that emotional core. And a lot of Fury of the Gods is also built on that. There is this family dynamic that's sort of ruptured within the film's narrative, but it doesn't quite get the time to get the spotlight which I think it wants to give it. And so it plays out in a very surface level manner, in a very scattered manner, that doesn't really get to be completely come to fruition, as it were. And when you lose that, it is kind of unfortunate, because then it's sort of, like I said, it takes away it's a core important element of what made that first movie work. I'm also a little skeptical trying to talk about this movie right now, because one of the things that I kept thinking about, especially as the film is coming to a close, is what exactly is going to be the significance of it. This is not a thing that's just going to affect the final grade, by the way, but I was curious watching it, like, in a couple of months' time, this whole universe is going to get sort of a reboot of sorts with The Flash and whatever happens in it. So I'm just kind of curious as to how much weight this is going to hold. I have a feeling that if it does well, then it probably will continue on. But as of right now, I can understand the skepticism going into it. But I think if you enjoyed the first Shazam a lot and you wanted a little more action out of it, then you're probably really going to like Fury of the Gods. It definitely doubles down on that considerably. And there are some things that don't always look great in terms of, CGI. There's a couple of moments of CGI where I was like, okay, that's not perfect. But there are some genuinely cool moments that are on screen, and those do work. And you do get a lot of cool stuff with all of the characters, all the kids combined together, even as adults, which does work. It's just a case of there's a spark the first one had, which is not quite here, but overall it's fine. It's still a fine enough movie. Oh, and I do want to say one more thing, and that is, if you watch the marketing for this movie in any way, you've been ruined the entire way through. Like, there are things that are in even more recent television spots and stuff like that, which I genuinely cannot believe made it into the official marketing. I have to assume it's a case of they wanted to get people to go see the film in theaters, probably because of the skepticism note that I made of earlier. But it's such a shame, because there are some moments that play out and you think, oh, I wonder how this is going to go. And if you had seen a trailer before that, which, by the way, I avoided all the marketing, and yet somehow, I saw the one ad on Instagram and I was like, oh, great. So I would avoid any marketing, like try to make it past all of that as much as you can and go see this movie without being hampered by any of it. It's a weird piece of advice, but it's the one that I'm going to ask you to stick to. I'm going to give Shazam! Fury of the Gods a 7 out of 10. Still overall a fine movie. Like I said, it's just lacking some of that core, but it's not a bad film. It's still got its funny moments. It's still got some cool characters. It's still got some fun sequences. Score by Christoph Beck was also really cool. Yeah, there's good stuff in here. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you guys think of Shazam! Fury of the Gods down below. Are you excited to see it? Let me know what you thought of the first Shazam. As always, if you like this, guys, please do subscribe. Thank you very much as always. And I'll see you guys in the movies.